Has already been here, but we're carrying that out through Sunday today, so happy Independence Day. Actually, we're going to carry it out throughout this whole month for the theme of freedom, but actually inner freedom. We'll be talking about both, inner freedom, outer freedom. Thank you, Marilyn Martin, so much for your music. So beautiful. Thank you so much. I have a few announcements. Coming up this Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. we will have film and discussion. So we'll find some kind of a film that meets our focus for the month and then watch that and have a lively discussion afterwards. That's always a love offering. That's at 7 o'clock this Wednesday. We have a couple events coming up. We have a fundraising event that we do when they have Del Dorado Days here at the park across the street, so it's the perfect time for us to have a big group of people coming over to the center and have a fundraiser. So last year was the first year we did this. It turned out to be really fun and it worked well. It raised quite a bit of money for the center. And we had a book sale. And only books, like books, puzzles, game, you know, what do you call those, video games or movies, whatever, DVDs. We set those out and just have that sale, but we also sell ice cream, some good ice cream, and we did really well with that as well. But what we need is volunteers to help make that happen. I have a sign-up sheet over here. The date is July 20th. We need to bring the books out and set them up on tables, and that would happen about 8 a.m. There's a parade downtown, like 10, and then everybody comes over to the park after that for some booths. There's music all day. So we need some people to set that up, work it. We probably, I'm gonna say we'll be there till 5, but we may be closing earlier than that. I know music continues to go on over at the park after that. So there's a sign-up sheet. We would really appreciate anybody who is able to help us. You know, we still need to fundraise here. We are a nonprofit. We do a lot of fundraising, and we just can't do it without our awesome volunteers. So if you're able to give some time, we appreciate that. Sign up, and then we'll give you details about that later. Okay. Also coming up is our third date night. Yeah, so that's coming up in July 19th. So that's the night before at 7 p.m. And we have a musician, he's a local musician. He lives in Peonia right now. He's back here. His name is Greg Cooperman. And he's really just a hoot. He's a great musician and really fun to watch and listen to. He has some original music. He plays some cover songs, maybe songs you haven't heard in a long time. He plays accordion. He plays keyboards. He also plays harmonica. And he can play those things like keyboard and harmonica at the same time, and he's really pretty fun. I really like him. I thought he would be really entertaining to have. So he's coming. We also will have, I'm not sure we're going to have homemade ice cream because Nancy won't be around, but we'll make sure we have ice cream. So we'll figure that out. It starts at 7 o'clock. And what we do is take a love offering for that. So he comes for just a love offering. We pass the basket, and then we split that with CSL and with the musician. And so it's a little bit of a fundraiser for us as well, but we love to be able to share that with the musician too. So I really encourage you to come out for date night music. It's live music outside in the summertime with your spiritual community and ice cream. Right?
If anybody wants a science project and wants to try making ice cream yourself, we'll take it.
Of course we will. Anybody want to offer that up? We're up for that.
So Brenda, I'll bring it.
Look at this. We got one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I actually think that's all of our...
So, like you were saying, we'll have a homemade ice cream.
We'll have homemade ice cream. Yeah. Very good. Okay, I think that's it for the announcements right now. So let's just move into speaking our purpose statement together here right now. As an intentional spiritual community, the purpose of CSL is to be a living environment for individuals to realize that we are all unique emanations of God, the love and intelligence governing the universe. We embody the truth of our oneness with God, and we consciously practice this truth in our everyday life. Through the exploration of new thought, ageless wisdom, and the energy of unconditioned love, we are dedicated to individual transformation and to being a beneficial presence in the world.
within my heart, and I will listen, Holy Spirit. I will listen. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will listen, Holy Spirit. I will listen. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet place.
And in this quiet place, as we become consciously aware, alive and awake to that inner essence of ourselves, I know that God is all there is. That this inner essence that we meet as ourselves is that essence, that gift of spirit that is all, in all, and through all. And the Spirit is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, eternal, perfect, infinite, and everlasting. For God is the creator and the creation, all life and everything in it. And I am one with this God, with this Spirit, with the one power, the one presence, the one freedom, the one harmony, the one peace. And I open my mind and my consciousness to this oneness and this truth that sets us all free. For I am whole, perfect, and complete, as well as each one present today. So I declare that each one, that we all accept the truth and allow it to set us free as we consciously merge and know our oneness with life. I know that the one mind, the one power, that one freedom, that one presence is at the center of my being and everyone's being. And we all recognize it, and we all claim our good. For I affirm that we are each divinely guided, supported, directed, and led from within by this pure Spirit. And we accept the peace, the love, the joy, the freedom, and the abundance that are our divine birthright and divine inheritance. I declare that our lives are full of gratitude for all of our blessings and the blessings to come as we gratefully, consciously accept all that is ours. And I declare and accept for each prayer request that the one presence, that God is active right in the midst of each request, leading each to the perfect outcome for the highest good. Each request is an activity in the mind of God, fulfilling itself in love, peace, joy, prosperity, and abundance. I bless the volunteers and the staff for this wonderful service today. We are so blessed to be in the presence of God expressing as each individual here today. And so I am very grateful for all the blessings and the good and our divine birthright that grants us the freedom to choose to be all that we are. So I release this word into the law, knowing it is already known in the mind of God. And this word does not return void. So I give thanks as we join together and declare, and so it is.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul.
Good morning. Boy, I can just see the light shining out there from each one of you. Is just really nice. I'd like to call your attention to the prayer chest. It's just down the stairs to the left against the wall. If there is something on your mind, something concerning you, something you would like a little support in your prayer practice this week or whatever, please leave your concerns in the prayer chest, and the practitioner will be doing affirmative prayer on your behalf this week. To be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedoms of others. Nelson Mandela. And from Ernest Holmes, We have thought that outside things controlled us, when all the time we've had that within, which could have changed everything and given us freedom from bondage.
So here comes a beautiful reminder from Garth Brooks that he's really expanding the scope of freedom in his song. This ain't coming from no prophet, just an ordinary man. When I close my eyes to see the way this world shall be, when we all walk hand in hand, when the last child cries for a crust of bread, when the last man dies for just words that he says, when there's shelter over the poorest head, then we shall be free. And the last thing we notice is the color of skin, and the first thing we look for is the beauty within. When the skies and the oceans are clean again, then we shall be free. We shall be free. We shall be free. Stand straight, walk proud, 'cause we shall be free. We're free to love anyone we choose, when this world's big enough for all different views, when we all can worship from our own kind of views, then we shall be free. Oh, we shall be free. We shall be free. Have a little faith, hold out, 'cause we shall be free. And when money talks for the very last time, and nobody walks a step behind, and there's only one race, and that's mankind, then we shall be free. Yeah, we shall be free. We shall be free. Stand straight, have a little faith. We shall be free. Yes, we shall be free. We shall be free. Stand straight, walk proud, 'cause we shall be free.
All right, isn't that an awesome song?
Yes.
Way to go, Garth. David, you did pretty good too. Okay, so I have something just a little different today. This video that I'm going to show is by Reverend Josh Reeves over at Mile High, and it is his July 4th message from last year, and I just thought we didn't get to have a July 4th message. I wanted to get one out. I loved what he had to talk about. He's titled this American Tenacity, and let's just get on with it. Here we go.
Affirmative prayer for liberty, for justice, and for happiness. This is in alignment with the teachings of our founder here, the author of The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, who I believe on page 1 of The Science of Mind says, "The divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul." Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. I don't know if there's a more important belief to hold for ourselves and humanity. Science of Mind is an American religion. It was founded right here in the United States, yet even more importantly, it's an American spirituality. We believe that the divine destiny of each and every human being is freedom. We are all about learning to live in freedom. And we as individuals, just like our country, stumble, sometimes greatly, along the way. We reject ourselves. We impede upon progress out of fear and control. We sometimes discriminate and push other people down out of a sense of survival to try and keep or lift ourselves up. But if we stay true to this divine birthright called freedom, not only for ourselves as citizens, but for people all over the world, it is my belief that we will pull through. Thomas Ricks, great journalist and historian, he has a great definition of America. He said, "America is a moving target, a goal that must always be pursued but never quite reached. America is a moving target, a goal that must always be pursued but never quite reached." There's a tension in our country. You felt it? You noticed it? One way of defining it is there's a group of Americans who only want to define America by her promise. And then there's another group of Americans who only want to define America by her failure to meet those promises. It's my belief that it's an incomplete perspective unless we're willing to tie those two understandings together to realize that even in our greatest of failures, we've had the tenacity to bring forth greater understandings of freedom, and that those continue to be before us as citizens today. To realize freedom not only in our own country, but in our own lives. America is a spiritual idea. It's something sacred to me. I believe that America is related to something infinite. That it is connected with the ability to achieve incredible possibilities for ourselves and for the world. I believe that the institutions of our country are sacred, if only in honor of our ancestors who have lived and breathed and died to uphold and to improve them over time. And I believe that we as Americans are at our best when we dedicate ourselves to a cause greater than our own individual desires and needs, to make a difference for our citizens and for people all over the world. It saddens me a little bit to say, for example, that I believe our institutions are sacred, because it's a controversial topic today. Josh, how do you balance that there's divine guidance in our country when I find so many of our politicians unintelligible? Right. But the thing to remember is that what makes our institutions sacred is that they outlast any individual. I believe that 3 branches of our government are sacred. I believe that our police and our fire departments are sacred. I believe that our teachers and our schools are sacred. That our doctors and our nurses are sacred. Even more so when these institutions are desacralized, we should be even more outraged because we love and care for them so much that we bring a discernment and a tough love to help reform and uplift them. To believe in our institutions as sacred doesn't mean that we have to trust all of the people who are inherent in them. In fact, it is the American way to distrust that, to bring that discernment and that skepticism and that strong sense of upholding and reforming in our country that helps make us who we are. As Jefferson once wrote, "I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man." This should be true for our country. This should be true in our own lives. The freedom to think for ourselves and to know that when we do that, it can bring forth genius and bring forth immense possibility and goodwill. What makes America a spiritual idea, what makes it so great to me, isn't as much the beautiful lands and geography, isn't so much even the incredible laws in our Constitution and those that continue to need improving. I know there's some we don't like to. But for me, American character has been defined by American characters. That there are incredible individuals who are the demonstration of the prayer for liberty and justice and happiness. That there have been incredible products of that prayer that have helped lead us to an ever-evolving and unfolding and embodiment of freedom for you and for me. George Washington, when he was 24 years old, he wrote in his diary that I will dedicate myself to reputation and honor. And he went on to say, I will not dedicate myself to the achievement of power. This is when he was 24 years old. If power happens or leadership happens for me, so be it, but I will dedicate myself to character. What an important aspect of the American character, that we put practicing our virtues and our values above control, above taking power, in order to support a greater legacy for all of us. All of these American characters, as unique as they are, all have one thing in common: an immense optimism balanced with an incredible pragmatism. Immense optimism, incredible pragmatism. It's the ability to look at the challenges in our country dead in the face and not turn away from them, while at the same time holding within to bringing forth what should be, what can be. The word for me is tenacity. American characters who've practiced immense tenacity. And thus the title of the message today, American Tenacity, the making of our American character. And I'm just going to touch upon 3 of these characters today. And the first is Frederick Douglass, who, in my mind, along with Abraham Lincoln, serve as the second forefathers to the second birth of our nation after the Emancipation Proclamation. Douglass, the son of a slave and the son of a slave owner, received the opportunity to get to read, and his genius was unleashed. Literacy can unleash genius. And he became a minister, and he became a speaker, and became a writer, and he traveled the globe and became one of the most famous people in the world. And at the height of the Civil War, he became Abraham Lincoln's most trusted and important advisor. And Douglass would say of Lincoln that he was the greatest man that he ever met, but that didn't mean that Lincoln didn't need a lot of help, especially around the race issue. He had quite a bit of ignorance there because he had come to the belief that even though he wanted to abolish slavery, that whites and blacks could not live together. And he called his advisors together, including Douglas, and he said, I believe what we have to do is create a colony for the blacks to go to because we can't live in one together. And it was Douglas, almost single-handedly, who argued and convinced him otherwise. At the dawning of the Emancipation Proclamation, Douglas would share, out of a full heart and sacred emotion, I congratulate you, my friends and fellow citizens, on the high and hopeful condition of the cause of human freedom and the cause of our common country. For those two causes are now one and inseparable, and now stand or fall together. It is difficult for us who have toiled so long and hard to believe that this event so stupendous, so far-reaching and glorious is even now at the door. It surpasses our most enthusiastic hopes that we live at such a time and are likely to witness the downfall, at least the legal downfall, of slavery in America. It is a moment for joy, thanksgiving, and praise. And on the day that the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, Douglas and Lincoln would shake hands, and Douglas said, thank you, sir, that was a sacred effort. I love that term. Sacred effort. What is your sacred effort in your life? What is your sacred effort to improve your life or the life of the people you love? What is your sacred effort to uplift your country and your fellow citizens, both in the United States and in the world? American tenacity. Incredible characters who I believe were the demonstration of the beginning of our nation's prayer for freedom, for justice, and for happiness. Another character, a real character, mind you, was Walt Whitman, a contemporary of Lincoln's and Douglas's. He was a mystical Quaker, very entrepreneurial spirit, and a writer, but he kept those writings hidden. And he once got to see Ralph Waldo Emerson, our spiritual forefather here of our faith, speak. And that impressed him so much that he started reading Emerson's essays, and there was a particular essay called The Poet. And The Poet was an essay that was calling forth the American voice. We're saying we believe in freedom, justice, happiness. We're saying we are one with the divine creator. What is the voice? We need that voice in our country. And this essay so inspired Whitman that he started gathering all of these leaves of grass, all of these cut-ups of his writings, and he created several series of poems entitled Leaves of Grass that is by most still referred to as the greatest book of poetry in American history. And in his famous poem, The Song of My Soul, he began to articulate that voice that you will hear in our teaching and in our prayers today. He shares, I hear and behold God in every object, yet I understand God not in the least. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God each hour of the 24 and each moment then in the faces of men and women I see, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and everyone is signed by God's name. In the Civil War, Whitman would dedicate himself to the service of his country by becoming a nurse. He nursed countless, hundreds and hundreds of soldiers, wounded soldiers, from the North and the South. And this would ultimately break his body. It would take, in many ways, his spirits. And yet he always maintained a strong faith in the purpose and in the destiny of his country. And he would share, and thou, America, for the scheme's culmination, its thought and its reality, for these, not for thyself, thou hast arrived. Thou too surround us all, embracing, carrying, welcoming all. Thou too, by pathways broad and new, to the ideal tendest. Be hard to talk like that all the time. American tenacity, the ability to step right into the fire. No rose-colored glasses, to look right into the problems of the country and yet to have the faith and the audacity to believe that something better should and will come forth. Without these characters as vessels to bring that forth, the America we know today and the America we want to become will not have or will not take place. One of the most tenacious characters of the 20th century was Eleanor Roosevelt. Mother of 6 kids, married to a man with polio who couldn't walk, who just happened to become president of the United States and just happened to want to serve more than a couple terms. A champion not only for women's rights, but served as an important member of the NAACP, dedicated her life in the long run to human rights along the world. You know, they say a woman has never officially been president, but that doesn't mean that on many occasions, powerful women have not been the great leaders of our nation in most trying times. Eleanor Roosevelt took it upon herself and mentored her husband in the philosophy of New Thought, recognizing during the Great Depression that what America needed wasn't just food, but a transformation of consciousness, a greater level of hope, a greater receptivity to prosperity, a greater hope no matter what. She carried with her at all times a poem by Henry Van Dyke called Thoughts Are Things. Written in the late 1800s, I bet you it inspired a fellow named Ernest Holmes. It goes like this: I hold it true that thoughts are things. They're endowed with bodies and breath and wings, and that we send them forth to fill the world with good results or ill. That which we call our secret thought speeds forth to earth's remotest spot, leaving its blessings or its woes like tracks behind it as it goes. We build our future thought by thought, for good or ill, yet know it not. Yet so the universe was wrought. Thought is another name for fate. Choose then thy destiny and wait, for love brings love, and hate brings hate. Roosevelt would go on to serve as ambassador to the United Nations, where she achieved the Declaration of Human Rights for all countries. At her funeral, Adlai Stevenson, the senator, would say she would rather light candles than curse the darkness, and her glow warmed the world. How about you? Would you rather light a candle or curse the darkness? Can you be that candle that brings warmth to those who are suffering, for those that are struggling, and for those who've realized the level of happiness and prosperity in their lives? The light of a candle does not discriminate. It shines for all. And it embodies perhaps the motto of the great state of South Carolina: while I breathe, I hope. While I breathe, I hope. That's American tenacity. That's American character. 3 little bits of advice as we continue to move through a challenging time in our country. Number 1, practice a tough love for your country, not a staunch cynicism. Practice a tough love for your country, not a staunch cynicism. Any of us in this country cannot take the out of being on the outside looking in on your country as long as you are in it and a part of it. What our country needs isn't our undying affection and unconditional love. What it needs is our tenacity of discernment, of skepticism, of care, of speaking up respectfully. of being a champion for our point of view, and yet for listening, for God's sake, to other people. You know, that's the other kind of sacred duty, I think, of being in this teaching. We don't just teach spiritual principles here, we teach how to communicate with one another. And that communication, I would argue, is the thing that's lacking most in our nation. The ability to listen and to be open, just maybe, to changing our minds a little bit. To honor the heart of good intentions, and yet at the same time to bring such strength and tenacity and vigor to bringing forth the America in your heart that you want to be. Not just for you, but for the people you love. Second, back to this great lesson from Washington. I don't think Lao Tzu and the Tao Te Ching could have put it better. Choose character over power. Choose character over power. I'm willing to bet for many of us, this very day, there's something that's causing you a little bit of stress, some tension within yourself, a challenging circumstance that you want to work out a particular way, a position or role that you want for yourself. And I would just invite us to consider that maybe there is this friction between a desire for power and a trust in character that might be asking yourself, how much of my character am I willing to sacrifice in order to get this thing that I want to take place? The message from Washington, always choose character over power. Embody your virtues, your authenticity, your honesty, your tough love, and your affectionate love. Embrace and embody your values and practice them, and let the rest take care of itself. One of the best forms of American tenacity. Lastly, be willing to serve a cause greater than yourself. America and Americans are at our best when we serve causes greater than ourselves. And I would say in this post-pandemic, whatever we want to call it, world, that one of the last things to come online is the sense of service. The sense of being a part of a community and no longer isolated. The part of giving yourself in service to your local community, your state, or your federal government. To be willing to be a part of something greater than just the small few that some of us surround ourselves with. It'll be July 4th, 2023 on Tuesday. And on July 4th, 2024, it is quite certain that former President Jimmy Carter will be dead.
But he's not.
He's in hospice care at his home in Georgia. And although many of us will debate the effectiveness of his presidency, I have never heard anyone challenge the notion that there has been no post-president who has made a bigger impact in the world than Jimmy Carter has. Through dedicating his life to service, through his Carter Foundation, helping to bring democracy to places that never knew it would be possible to have it, to help cure diseases like guinea worm that was killing millions and millions of people and now only kills a handful. A wonderful dedication of heart and service, continuing to teach Sunday school at his church as recently as a year ago. And Carter was asked about his sense of service once, and he shared the following. I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. I'm free to choose what that something is, and the something I've chosen is my faith. Now my faith goes beyond theology and religion and requires considerable work and effort. My faith demands this is not optional. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I can, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have to try and make a difference. There is a sacred effort underway in this experiment called America, in this divine experience, an experiment called humanity. It is the recognition that each and every individual is born to live in freedom, in the glory of their spirit and in the tenacity of their uniqueness. We are each, conscious of it or not, a part of that sacred effort. Can you articulate your part to play in the conversation, in the deeds and the actions, in the charity and even in the scolding of those who do not live up to your version of America? Can we embrace our place in this sacred effort and allow it to do the work in us to help us find the courage and the tenacity to be an American character that helps shape an ever-evolving and renewed character for our nation? Because it needs it. It needs that renewed character to get back to the work of implementing and weaving God and Spirit's freedom into this human life in this glorious planet, hurtling through space with one another.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every starshine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe, and your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Okay, as the ushers come forward, this is our time to consciously participate in the law of circulation. So if you take your gift or your tithe in your hand, and just know with me that as I have freely received, I freely participate as my gift goes forth, knowing that in completing this circle, it is endless, as this abundance of spirit is always at hand, circulating for the greatest good of all. And our affirmation:
In the spirit that I give to God, God gives to me. I release and I let go. Let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
And we are blessed by these gifts, knowing that they go forth, enhancing our community, our state, our country, and the world, where we are so blessed, and the circle shall be unbroken, and so it is.
Thank you, Lou. Well, what about that, Reverend Josh? Yeah, I super enjoyed that message, and I thought, that just is a good one to hear, right? Especially right now. So thank you, Josh, for that. Okay, I think we are to claiming our good. All right, that's a lot of words, isn't it? But only 2 of them, so I'll give you a chance to look at them here. Remember, our focus for this whole month will be freedom, inner freedom and outer freedom. So let's say these all together, one voice here. Here we go. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and are the divine heritage of everyone. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of all people, causing it to know that success, prosperity, and happiness may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression, and so it is.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be.